You know, one of the things that I've constantly realized is that every corporate, especially the ones listed here as well, have a place to play when it comes to matters climate and what they're doing as well in the ESG sector. Our CEO today on the set is Joseph Murabula, and he's a CEO, Kenya Climate Innovation Center. Fairly young, but doing also a lot, and I've been meeting him in circles, and I told him it's time that we have a chat, and he's right here. Joseph, welcome to the show.
Thank you. Thank you for having me.
Excellent. It's good to see you. And maybe some people are here in the Kenya Climate Innovation Center for the first time.
Yeah.
And others probably remember when we had a lot of heads of states here.
Yes.
So maybe I wanted you to elaborate for us just why you were created and what problems are you solving?
Thank you for that question.
Yeah.
To understand exactly why KCIC was created and what exactly we do, you have to understand a bit about the climate discourse and how it has evolved over time. Now, annually, the world convenes a meeting we call the COP, or the Conference of the Parties.
That's
so
true.
Every November, December, you see literally
There's a COP
every country. So member states of what used to be the UN Framework Convention on Climate Change basically meet and then decide what the climate priorities are and what to do about it. So about 15 COPs in, say about 2009, the world realized that there were two basic challenges, two main challenges with the climate discourse. One of them was that while climate was becoming, it was known to be a threat, the kind of adaptation measures available were not sufficient. In particular, climate technologies were not commercializing at a rate consistent with the need to fight climate change. And then secondly, there was a feeling that climate was still an elite concept. It's something that people discuss in boardrooms, in the universities, and that sort of thing. And so there's need to have that information come to the grassroots. And so the World Bank took up that challenge and basically commissioned a study. Study done by Professor Saga, who was then at the Indian Institute of Technology. And that study basically concluded that the developing countries basically did not have an institute, were lacking institutions that can support climate innovation, whether they're public or private. And so they decided that one way of dealing with this is to create climate innovation centers around the world. And so KCIC was then the first in that global network of climate innovation centers created in 2012, and basically just to do a number of things. One, just to support the development and deployment of climate technologies. And then secondly, through that development and deployment of climate technologies, spur industries that then can be able to create economic opportunities and create jobs. And then thirdly, do things that are ancillary to that deployment. Things like, say, energy access, energy security, access to climate information. So that's basically why we were created, and that's why KCIC exists.
Thank you so much for that, sir. And one of the key things that, businesses, because you're in the business sector now, and I see you a lot as well in the circles, is the balance. Some people just see climate change and environment as one side of things. And there's also an economic side of this and what you're running. Could you marry the two so that businesses may appreciate your role and why you exist?
Now, climate change is probably one of the biggest economic opportunities available in the world right now. It's been available for some time. Mostly because the world has made a decision to go green. And therefore, every country, every company, and every business entity is trying to be sustainable, so to speak, to pivot toward sustainability.
Yeah.
And that in itself means the creation of new industries, creation of new markets, and lots of capital flow. And that creates economic opportunities. So if I was just to give you a few examples,
yes,
take something like renewable energy, for instance. Now, for us to move from, say, fossil fuel energy to renewable energy, we have to invest in research.
Yeah.
To invest in development of those technologies, and then to invest in their deployment.
Okay.
That means creation of completely new value chains and new industries, and therefore lots of capital flows. If you know, I'm sure by lots of Kenyan companies that have raised money. If we continue the same theme of renewable energy, for instance, if you look at decentralized systems, everybody knows M-Copper.
You're right.
M-Copper has raised a lot of money, just to be able to do what they do. Companies like Delight, for instance, have raised quite a lot of money. Companies like Basigo in e-mobility, companies like Rome Electric, companies like Sun King. And then if you look at, say, climate smart agriculture, you have companies like Apollo Agriculture, companies like the ones that KCIC supports. Raise a lot of money and basically created new industries and new opportunities. So lots of economics in there. And if you look at, say, climate adaptation, we need to create resilience to climate. And that means we have to build new infrastructure. If you look at, say, our coastline, then now you need to be able to build seawalls to create climate resilience, for instance. That in itself will create a lot of opportunities around construction, around industrial technology. Take climate smart agriculture. We need to build new irrigation systems. We need to build new transitions towards regenerative agriculture, for instance. And that means new investments required in research, new investments required in technology, and new investments required in markets. And so climate is a very big opportunity. And then look at now, all that is enabled by finance. So now the whole area of green finance, for instance. So lots of green funds, lots of fund managers, lots of banks, lots of money, including your pension money, going into green portfolios. So again, creation of a lot of economic opportunity in there. So that's what we say, climate is probably one of the biggest economic opportunity available.
You're right.
The Tesla is probably one of the top 10 most valuable companies in the world. $1.3 trillion in valuation. Tesla is all built around climate because it makes about 5,000 electric vehicles annually. And then you had what used to be called Solar City, which is now called Tesla Energy, basically just moving people away from fossil fuel to renewable energy. So all this basically tells you just the opportunity available in terms of economics.
Welcome back. We are talking matters Kenya Climate Innovation Center, what they're doing and everything else, and we just close the whole part. We're getting to part two where we want to talk about the finance, investment, carbon markets, and then close that conversation. Welcome back, Joseph. And, just speaking from where we stopped at the scaling part, let's talk about the finance part of it. Because climate finance is a major global conversation. I mean, we have seen a lot of conversations, as you've said, from the COP, even here locally and all that. The question is, why is it still difficult for many entrepreneurs to access funding? Because a lot of people say, we got the ideas, but accessing this funding is still some trouble. What needs to change?
I think we need more patient capital. We need funding that then can be deployed and does not have to be returned in a short period of time. So that then we can be able to deal with the challenge of timelines. If I'm going to start my prototype now, and if I'm and then that money needs to be able to support me, needs to be patient enough to wait until I commercialize, so to speak, and that can be 10 years. Sometimes, so to speak. And then we need more blended financing models, so that then we have public money or grants basically being used in a way that then de-risks, the next stage of financing, which can come in from the private sector. And then, of course, for us to be able to just ensure that these funds flow to where it's most needed, you need standards, you need equal measurement. The similar measurement and similar standards across the globe. So that I don't have another one standard for probably an innovator in Europe or in the developed world, and have another standard for an innovator in Kenya, so to speak, because what will happen because of the advantages that they have, which mostly around have to do with the stage at which they are in terms of development, you find that the money will end up that side, so to speak. So you need that standardization across, and then just reduce, and then of course again to ensure that this money flows, then you need again capacity. So we still need to support our incubation centers. We need to support to be able to identify these technologies and then package them in a way that they are able to access funding, so to speak.
I think we want to close the conversation with the very pertinent component of this entity or conversation, and that is the carbon markets. Why it's very close to us is because, as well, here the exchange, we're looking forward for its establishment, so we can also have a carbon exchange happening here as well. But I want you to paint a picture for us. How are we positioned as a country in the carbon markets? And because of the attention it's generating itself, and maybe the final part of it would be opportunities you see that Kenyan businesses and communities should be thinking about when it comes to carbon markets.
The Kenyan carbon markets in Kenya are still nascent, so to speak. Carbon markets are usually to have what you call the compliance markets or the statutory markets. Then you have the voluntary markets. But carbon markets generally are still, in Kenya, still nascent. As you know, it's only last year that we were able to establish a carbon registry at NEMA, and so we were able to come up with carbon regulation. So now you can register a carbon project here. So we still, at the early stages, we're still waiting to see how it all develops. Now, in terms of opportunities, there are various opportunities in there, both for communities and for corporate institutions. So for communities, basically, the opportunities are around three main areas. One is what we call benefit sharing. As you know, under the regulations in Kenya, all carbon projects that happen on land then have got to leave 40% of their earnings to members of the community where the project is based. So that in itself is an opportunity. And then for those that are not based on land, have to leave about 25% of their earnings in the community. So that's an opportunity. Then you have an opportunity around ecosystem restoration. There are lots of communities here which land, for instance, is degraded. And so they have an opportunity to do ecosystem restoration projects, things like nature-based solutions, forestry, agroforestry, climate-smart agriculture, mangrove restoration, and that sort of thing, to be able just to restore their ecosystem, restore their nature, so to speak. And then, of course, the opportunities around community infrastructure. Most of the carbon projects in communities come with a legal agreement we call community development agreement. Now, under that agreement, they are able to, those projects are required to develop infrastructure. So schools, health centers, and that sort of thing can be developed. Now, for companies, we also see opportunities around, again, three main areas. The first is new revenue streams. So carbon markets can foster new revenue streams for companies, and that's probably make them more sustainable. Now, the second is around access to the global financial system. So all these things we've been talking about, where money is now available globally, how does you as a company access it? So you, by aligning yourself to the requirements of what we call Article 6 in the Paris Agreement, that's the financing article in the Paris Agreement, you can be able to access climate finance at scale. And so that you can be able basically to finance your business in that respect. And then, of course, there are just the opportunities around corporate sustainability, so to speak. So just by ensuring that you go green, so to speak, then you become you access a lot more value chains, a lot more supply chains to be able to grow your business. So quite a few opportunities also, both for communities and for corporations.
All right. My goodness, I think that was quite comprehensive. Maybe I want to close by asking you 3-5 years from now, what will make you happy? You're steering this organization. Yes.
Now, for KCIC, in the course of last year, we launched a new strategy, what we call KCIC 4.0. And under that strategy, we've changed our vision to sustainable enterprises and climate smart communities. So that is what our vision is. And we are doing 3 additional things. One, we are going Pan-African, so we are positioning ourselves as a Pan-African catalyst for climate entrepreneurship. Now, the second, we are catalyzing whole ecosystems instead of just supporting individual enterprises. And the third, we are creating enterprises at the grassroots, so to speak. So what success for us looks like is that by 2030, which is when our strategy ends, and I think I probably need to mention that KCIC is a Vision 2030 project of the Kenya government. We are one of the institutions that are Vision 2030. So by 2030, when that strategy ends, what success for us looks like is one, a thriving climate entrepreneurship ecosystem across Africa. Second, a coordinated entrepreneurship ecosystem, and not just support to individual enterprises, but the entire ecosystem working in tandem. The third is having activity, being active in at least 10 countries. And then support to 12,000 entrepreneurs. That is the target we've set ourselves. And creation of 100,000 jobs. Because that is that is key. So that is what will make us happy, but importantly also support the mitigation of about 1.2 million metric tons of carbon. So if we can be able to achieve that, as well as set up an $100 million revolving fund, then we will say our strategy has worked.
And we certainly wish you well with that, Joseph.
Thank you.
And thank you so much for being right here on the Trading Bell.
Thank you.
I think mine, the 2 things that I want to see 2030, those 12,000 entrepreneurs being supported and 100,000 jobs. That's a very good angle to look at, and we wish them well in 2030. Joseph Murabula, the CEO, Kenya Climate Innovation Center, very bullish about their work and what they're doing with their strategy 4.0. Thank you so much for your time. I leave you now with the markets.